6 hours after this ball game kicked off at 7 p.m. yesterday, the Sun Devils find themselves victorious 24-21 in the season opener against the Thunderbirds of Southern Utah. Here with House of Sparky, Matt Venezia alongside Jack Pearson. The Kenny Dillingham era, the Jaden Rashada true freshman era for the Sun Devils kicks off with a victory in two very different halves, Jack. But to start with the positives, things got going right away for Jaden Rashada.
Yeah, absolutely. Jaden Mercado did not look like a true freshman mentally. He looked like actually the leader and the most calm player out there in the field. His first drive, he has a nice 33-yard pass. It ends with a Bo Scatabo touchdown. And, of course, Arizona State took the early lead, but man, it was kind of the offense stalled, and you saw some of the adjustments that Kenny Dillingham and Jaden Rashada are going to have to make as he head over to the second half, which was a different story.
Absolutely. This game, the Sun Devils up 21-7 going into halftime. Then we were kind of sitting around for about 2.5 hours in the media room, just kind of expecting once that Haboob and Sam storm came in to see when we were going to get out there for football. But when the Sun Devils did, just 3 points in the second half for ASU, 14 for the Thunderbirds. Jake Miller, not the most impressive outing for him, just 7 of 16, but the Thunderbirds put some drives together and made ASU have to work for it there at the end defensively to keep them in the game.
Yeah, Kenny Dillingham just said in the presser a few moments ago that he's got to get his team to deal with adversity a little bit better. He said that this rain delay shouldn't have been a problem for this Arizona State team and that it really affected them a lot more than he expected to. So that was a concern for Arizona State, led by Coach Kenny Dillingham.
236 passing yards, 2 touchdowns through the air for Rashada in his really collegiate debut as a true freshman. That was a positive for the Sun Devils, obviously. The other positive was Scatabo, as you talked about. 71 yards on the ground, a touchdown in his debut. The transfer from Sac State looked pretty good there as the workhorse running back tonight for ASU.
Yeah, Arizona State has some playmakers on this offensive side of the football, and of course it starts with Scatabo, who had an incredible day on the ground. He's kind of a power back, but he's got some speed that you wouldn't expect from a guy, and he packs a big punch. This Arizona State team is in good hands on the ground. And then Jaden Rashada has a lot of targets through the air that he's going to be using throughout this season.
Jack, we talked about ASU kind of stalling there in the second half. A big reason for some of that momentum shift, a block punt that returned back for a touchdown by the Thunderbirds, and we were kind of looking around, hang on, with 6 minutes left to go. The Thunderbirds got the ball back with a chance to take the lead, but it was ASU's defense that didn't allow that to happen, and a big reason why they found a win there at the end.
Yeah, it almost felt like Eastern Michigan-esque in the building when that happened, and there wasn't, any fans here. The student section was pretty much empty, as you would expect, with a 2.5-hour delay. So it was really concerning for a lot of the fans in the building. You could just feel the tension when that block punt happened, and it kind of felt like, uh-oh, this might be one of those Eastern Michigan games again where we start looking at this team and you have to ask, what is going on with this program here in Arizona? But they get the win, they get it done, they're 1-0. What's next for this Arizona State team? It's Oklahoma State.
Absolutely, 1 week till that matchup, and a lot of adjustments will probably have to be made. I mean, it can be understood that when the debut of Kenny Dillingham, a lot of growing pains moving forward, but Jack, he said that the rain and the delay can't really be something to kind of blame on, which guys are sitting in the locker room kind of waiting to see if we're going to play football or not. There was a reason to believe that we probably weren't. So how do you kind of stay motivated there? And is that something you can really coach or teach in the weeks leading up to Oklahoma State?
Well, he even said he has to figure it out, but they have a big test with Oklahoma State. This is a Southern Utah team that should not have even been on the same playing field as Arizona State tonight. This should have been a wipe, and instead it was extremely close, and they could have lost the game if it weren't for a targeting call that got called back against Southern Utah. So now they go big Power 5 conference, Big 12, an opponent that they're going to be facing when they join the Big 12 pretty often, I would think almost every single year. They are in for a tough one, and this is an Oklahoma State team that might be in a down year, but man, they are nowhere near the level that Southern Utah is at, and I think that's a concern for Arizona State looking ahead to next Saturday.
That matchup next Saturday will complete the home and home that both teams share over the 2 seasons. Last year, ASU fell in Stillwater, trying to find revenge here on the grounds in Tempe against those Cowboys, who, as you mentioned, might be a down year. No Spencer Sanders this year, obviously transferring away to Ole Miss. So a different-looking program, but nonetheless, the Devils, as you said, 1-0. You got to use that moving forward to your advantage. The defense was a big reason why the Devils got the win. That's what Kenny Dillingham said after in the press conference, and things get a lot more difficult next week when the Sun Devils see Oklahoma State. But until then, the crew here at House of Sparky brought this one to you. For Jack Pearson, Matt Venezia, we will see you next week when the Sun Devils try to make it 2 wins on the season against the Cowboys.